Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is my colleague, Forbes staff writer, Zach Everson. Zach, thanks for coming on.
Good to see you again, Brittany.
You have an update for us on the story you and I have been talking about now for a few weeks, Donald Trump's liquor licenses. But before we get into the new update, talk about why they were in jeopardy in the first place.
The state of New Jersey does not allow people with problems of or who've been convicted of crimes of moral turpitude from having liquor licenses. And there's similar rules on the books in other states too, where the former president has businesses that serve alcohol, be them resorts, golf courses, hotels. So New Jersey, after we reached out to New Jersey to ask if they were in fact going to look into Trump's liquor licenses, they said, yes, we are going to go ahead and investigate whether he can still hold those.
So they investigated. Now bring us to today. What did they find?
They decided not to renew the licenses. And a bit of coincidence here, the licenses were to expire last Sunday. The two of the three Trump clubs in New Jersey had submitted applications in May asking for renewal, and the state of New Jersey decided not to renew them, instead issuing them temporary licenses so they could continue serving, but it was going to be pending a hearing in mid-July where the clubs would have to explain why they deserve to still have licenses and why they do not fall afoul of New Jersey law.
So first, let's talk about, is Donald Trump the holder of these liquor licenses? We know that the Trump organization says one thing, the state of New Jersey says another. So what are the two arguments?
So what the Trump organization says is that his name is not on the licenses, and that by the licenses that I've seen and other outlets have reported on, that appears to be correct. It appears that they're all Donald Trump Jr.'s name. Now, the issue there is that they also named the business, and the business that is listed on the licenses in all the instances are completely owned by Donald Trump through a string of companies and a trust. I actually printed out the graphic that we ran there, as bad as it is since I made it. But you can see here, like, here's this golf club in Bedminster, and here are the companies that own it, and then it gets split up into two other companies, and then it goes to another company, and then it goes to a trust. And Trump has testified in the New York Attorney General's suit that he is the sole beneficiary of that trust. He is the only one who has put assets into that trust. So all the other information about the companies comes from his financial disclosures. So completely from information that Donald Trump has provided to government officials, you can piece together that he is the sole beneficial owner of those clubs. So we ran an article pointing that out in the wake of the Trump organization's denials. And then shortly thereafter, the New Jersey Attorney General's office said that it reached the same conclusion, and that's why it decided not to renew the licenses.
And I think what your flowchart shows, all roads do lead to the Donald J. Trump revocable trust.
They do. And that's the case with all of these companies. They don't all take the same road. They all start with different LLCs and go through different LLCs, but they all do end at the trust, of which he is the sole beneficiary.
So when you reached out to the New Jersey Attorney General, what did that office say to you?
I mean, at first they said, hey, we're looking into it. We're looking into it. And then they did say, they came back and said, all right, we are going to not renew these and instead hold the investigation. The latest update, though, is that the hearing was set for July 19th on the liquor licenses, and that was so it would take place after Trump was sentenced, because that would give the final verdict, I guess, on whether or not on his guilt. So they were going to wait till after July 11th to do that. Now, as we both know, the Supreme Court ruled that Trump has immunity in some circumstances. New York has postponed the sentencing date. So when I reached out to New Jersey yesterday, they did confirm that, yes, they are going to postpone it as well. Since it is contingent on him being sentenced, they don't have a date yet. They will get that ironed out at some point. So it has, as Trump does, he has managed to kick the can down the road a few months.
Let's talk about that a little bit. We talked about some Trump loopholes a few weeks ago. Now does it look like he has a few more workarounds in light of that Supreme Court immunity ruling?
Well, in this case, he gets a delay. In the other states, he does seem to have a better workaround. His as a golf club in Los Angeles, and when I spoke to a representative there of the California ABC, he said that Trump is fine, the fact that it is Donald Trump Jr.'s name on the license and that the company is owned by a trust of which Trump is not a trustee takes care of any of California's requirements. The other states we reached out to, including Virginia, Illinois, they at first said he's not on there. I pointed out that, the string of companies does lead back to him, and we haven't heard back from a lot of those states. So still up in the air what those other states are going to do.
So as we know, as you just mentioned, he does have other businesses in other states, other liquor licenses. Is New Jersey being the strictest here, or does Jersey just operate on a different set of rules from these other states?
The rules seem to be somewhat similar. I mean, yes, each state writes its own liquor laws, but moral turpitude is a phrase that showed up in several of them. But a lot of this, with New Jersey, they say specifically that a lot of it comes down to the discretion of the head of the ABC. And that's one thing that we are seeing, is that it really comes down to the discretion of local officials. That was the case in D.C. when he had the hotel here a few years ago, and it was pre-felony conviction, but there was a group that came after his liquor license of the hotel here. And at first, I mean, in D.C., obviously very, very liberal, but the ABC wanted nothing to do with it. At first, they dismissed it, saying it wasn't the appropriate time. You could only contest it when it was coming up for renewal. Then when it was coming up for renewal, the DC ABC threw it out again, saying that the people who brought the complaint, enough of them were not from DC for them to consider. So you could certainly see local officials having some leeway here. And that's what we're seeing for New Jersey. I mean, they've decided that they do, in fact, want to pursue this. They could have possibly said something similar to what California said, or what some of these other states have done, which is just not even respond.
And do you think that New Jersey will be accused of playing politics here when it comes to these liquor licenses?
Already happened. When we tweeted out this story, that was a ton of my responses are, it's New Jersey, it's Democratic, Democrats are going after Trump's liquor licenses. It's the big government taking over. It's, just an example of the fascist state. It's Joe Biden going after the liquor licenses. There's all sorts of stuff going on there, of course.
Zach, has the Trump organization responded to you in light of these latest developments?
They haven't. I reached out to both the campaign and the organization. The campaign referred me to the organization. The organization hasn't responded, which has been the case all along for our reporting. It has not responded to us at all. It did, after we did the initial report about the license being under investigations, other outlets followed up on that report, and the Trump organization did respond to them. And that's when it pointed out that Donald Trump's name is not on the liquor license. Eric Trump himself also tweeted that, or so I've been told, because he's blocked me on Twitter, so I can't see it myself.
So this has been kicked down the road. So what are you looking out for next in terms of this liquor license story?
Well, first of all, curious just to make sure the interim license will still be valid all the way through until the hearing. The latest text that we have just said that the interim license was valid until the hearing, which was scheduled on July 19th. Now, based on the communications I've had with the New Jersey Attorney General's office, I expect that will be the case, that the interim license will carry through until eventually a final decision is reached, whenever that is, but I don't have that 100% nailed down yet. So I've reached out about that. We'll hopefully have an answer soon.
Well, when you get an answer, I know you'll be back on and tell us all. Zach Everson, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.